Welcome back to the Humble Marksman channel, the only gun channel here on YouTube, dripping with that BDE. That's right, Big Dad Energy. If you can remember running to your oldest child every time they fell down and making sure they were okay, versus your subsequent children just being like, yeah, they're fine, go ahead and hit that like button. I'm David, and this is the SIG Sauer Romeo 2. Now, the Romeo 2 is SIG Sauer's entrance into the world of mailbox optics for pistols. And I have to say that it's probably the nicest optic, maybe mailbox style, maybe just in general, that I've encountered, and I'll get into more of that later. But a lot of you are immediately like, well, that's dumb because the thing comes in two pieces and you have to put it together yourself. And that's true, but the Romeo 2 comes in two pieces because it doesn't mount on a rail style adapter, but it mounts into the Delta Point Pro style footprint, which all the SIG guns already come milled for. So it actually works really well, and you won't have to get adapter plates on many of the pistols that are already out there. But before I tell you more about it, I need to mention today's video sponsor. Gentlemen, are you tired of your wife and or mother saying, I wish you'd quit wearing shirts with words on them? Or maybe all your shirts only have Punisher skulls on them? Or you made good on that New Year's resolution and you need new schmedium shirts? Into the AM has you covered. They are a brand run by designers making really cool shirts like the one I'm wearing right now and these other shirts that I'm happy to add to my collection. They do a really great job with scale and color, very minimalist designs. I've got a bunch of these now. I bought some before they started working with the channel. They're really well made, very comfortable shirts, and they're actually pretty reasonably priced. They do like 3 packs. If you get the graphic tees, you can get 3 graphic tees for like $60, or you can get 3 of their basic tees that just have their little logo on them for $50, which is pretty cool. So you'll probably notice the shirts on the channel on the go forward. And I'll be competing in the Flexing Astronaut tank top because, you know, yeah. So check them out. There is a link in the description and the pinned comment below where you can save 10%. Back to the Romeo 2. First and foremost, the reason I like the Romeo 2 is it comes across very much like a typical reflex style optic. If you get used to shooting reflex style optics, you end up getting used to kind of the way that they look. A lot of the mailbox style optics, and this is true of the aim point, it's true of all of them, they look like weird little squares. The viewing window is not very big, and this is possibly the biggest viewable window, so you have more visible space for your dot to run around on the screen. This is useful for performance shooting, but it still has a super robust shroud that bolts into place on either side. So I really like the optic, and I'm not going to beat it up, but my buddy Luke over at TFB did a review on his where he threw it in the pool and threw it in the freezer and did a bunch of destructive style testing to it. The optic took it all with a smile. And I hate it when a product is this good because it ends up sounding like a pitchman type thing, but wait, there's more. So even if you just take the performance of the optic as a red dot, as a sight for the gun, which is what it's supposed to do, it has a number of other things that it does that its competitors don't necessarily do in the space. First and foremost, the optic can be configured in 3 different ways. It is an aluminum housing that you can not put the steel shroud on, or it comes with a half steel shroud that you can put on there to reinforce the optic in a reflex sight configuration, or you can use it in full mailbox form like I have it here. There is a little acrylic lens that kind of presses in and has rubber gaskets that goes on the back of the shroud, and then it hooks on the front via a bar and is secured at the rear with 2 little screws that go in either side of the housing. The adjustment is handled through these buttons that are on the side of the optic, and they are intentionally sunk into the optic, so if you had this in like a duty style holster, you're not going to bump the brightness up or down inadvertently. But about the whole duty style holster thing, it has a very interesting feature that I'm not aware of anybody else having, and that's it comes with an optic cover that has a neodymium magnet at the front. So when you put the optic cover on like that, the magnet basically deactivates the optic, preserving battery life. But battery life isn't really a big deal because this has motion sensor, MOTAC, SIG likes to call it. Basically, the optic will turn off after a few minutes of not being used and turn back on the second it senses vibration. It also has a 2032 battery, which provides superior battery life. All the 1632 batteries have about 70 to 80% of the battery life of a 2032. It's available in a couple different reticle sizes. It comes in a 3, 6, 10, or even a circle dot configuration, depending on what you're after, so everybody can be happy about that. This is a 6 MOA, but I kind of wish I'd got the 10. So speaking of batteries, this is a feature I haven't seen on any of the other optics, period. Well, they've got a button at the back corner, back right corner of the optic. There's a button, and you have to press this button in order to release the battery tray. So I'll hold it close to the microphone so you can hear. So that has released it, and then I can just pull it out with my nail, and the tray comes right out. There's the battery. So there's no screws that you have to unscrew or anything like that, or you have to torque down any kind of battery cap. It's a very intuitive thing. It clicks back into place and the battery is good to go, and I've got my dot, it's already back on. Keeping the Lux thing going, the Optic actually comes with its own torque wrench to install it to correct specification. A lot of guys don't have torque wrenches to install their Optics properly. This one comes with its own torque wrench in the box so that you can torque it down to 28 inch-pounds of torque right out of the box. It also has the Torx bit to secure the shroud on either side and the adjustment tool in order to zero the Optic. It's a quality tool that you aren't in any danger of losing inside your range bag. So they really do go the extra mile in order to get this Optic put together. Speaking of an Optic being put together, it even has the option of, if you've got a loaded chamber indicator underneath the bar that hooks on to secure the shroud, you can mount a little baffle that will keep the smoke from the loaded chamber indicator from coming back in the Optic's lens when the slide goes back into battery. There's a lot of forward-thinking features in this Optic that makes me excited about what the future of Optics could be from SIG Sauer. So there's a lot going on with this Optic, and for the price tag, I suppose there had better be, because this sucker sells in the first quarter of 2023 for about $600, making it one of the more expensive Optics in this realm. But I can say at this point, I have most of the other enclosed emitter Optics that I do think that this is possibly the best one. Take that opinion for what it's worth. This is a sample that was sent to me in order to make videos like this for you guys. And subscribe to the channel and you'll be able to see a comparison to all the other enclosed emitter Optics that I'm working my way through. When that video comes out, pay attention to which Optics have homes on guns, because that'll be a big indicator of what I think about the Optic. So I appreciate Into the AM for sponsoring today's video. I appreciate SIG Sauer for making really cool doodads and letting me make videos about them. If you've got questions, sound off in the comments below. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one.